The fence line is a horizon of chain link and frost. Sodium lamps buzz. A guard tower sweeps you with a slow, bored spotlight that still feels like a question. Your radio hisses in short bursts grid coordinates, vehicle tags, names you don't write down. You walk the edge so others can go inside. This is your life, level by level, inside a Cold War nuclear facility bounty hunter chain. Perimeter tracker. The line where the maze begins. The air tastes like diesel and snowmelt. You move along the outer service road with a map board clipped to your parka, counting fence posts and camera housings like rosary beads. The gate shack smells of burnt coffee. A Polaroid of a missing technician is taped beside the logbook. You don't go past the last warning sign restricted area. Use of deadly force AUTHORIZED, but you guide reconnaissance teams right up to it. Your clearance buys you two things: exterior site diagrams and the rules for how you're allowed to ask questions. You memorize shift changes, truck schedules, and the lazy patterns of the tower guards. You tell yourself you're just directing traffic. You tell yourself you're keeping people safe. You tell yourself the informants are volunteers, even when you pay them in cigarettes and commissary vouchers. At night you file contact reports with time stamps and license plates, and you learn the first lesson. The perimeter isn't a wall. It's a mouth, and you're the bait on its tongue. L clearance remote hand. When the secrets start whispering. You trade snow and floodlights for a windowless comms room where the air is warm and dry. Racks of equipment hum behind locked mesh. A teletype chatters like teeth. You wear headphones that pinch, listening for call signs on a frequency you're not supposed to admit exists. Your hands smell like graphite from carbon paper and the oily metal of cipher locks. With L clearance, you don't see the whole picture, you move pieces. You route encoded messages through one-time pads, burn used sheets in a small steel incinerator, and sign the ash log with a pencil that never leaves the room. You oversee remote hands tasks, powering up a sensor package, confirming a relay station, watching a test play through a grainy monitor where faces are always slightly blurred. You tell yourself the partial truth is safer. You tell yourself loyalty tests are normal. You tell yourself the quiet questions from internal security are routine. The devices whisper without explaining, and you realize your job is to carry secrets like fragile glass while everyone around you wears gloves. Q clearance inside agent. Where lies are the currency of survival. The first time the Q badge works, the lock clicks with a clean, expensive sound. Inside, the corridors are painted institutional green, the kind that hides stains. You pass a dosimeter rack and clip one to your belt like a habit. In a drafting room, reactor blueprints sit under weighted rulers. In a secure vault, weapon schematics live in folders stamped with distribution numbers and return deadlines. Now the work is faces, not fences. You sit in briefings where everyone speaks in careful fragments, and you learn to answer questions with questions. You memorize who uses which brand of cigarettes, who never drinks the water, who touches the same pocket before entering a room. You build covers inside covers: maintenance liaison, procurement auditor, safety reviewer, whatever the week demands. You tell yourself the lies are operational. You tell yourself compartmentalization protects everyone. You tell yourself you're invisible, even when the red phone rings and your name is the only one that doesn't surprise anyone. The clearance opens doors, but it also turns every reflection into a suspect, and the only face you can't verify is your own. You've crossed from the fence line into the blueprint vault. Next, you don't just carry orders, you rewrite them, redirect teams, and decide what the facility is allowed to know about itself. Q-sensitive chief strategist. You don't just know the maze, you redraw it. The conference room has no windows and too many ashtrays. A wall clock ticks loud enough to feel like pressure. You stand over a site map laminated so many times the edges are rounded, and you slide pins across it: blue for personnel movement, red for anomalies, white for unknowns that can't be said out loud. The plant manager brings you weekly production numbers. The security chief brings you incident reports with staples still warm. You carry 2 notebooks. One for what can be filed, one that never leaves your jacket. Your badge doesn't just open doors. It edits reality. You decide which missing technician becomes a deserter, which becomes medical leave, which becomes a name that vanishes from rosters. You authorize polygraphs, tail teams, and controlled leaks in envelope, accidentally left in a locker, a rumor planted in the cafeteria line. You tell yourself you're balancing risk. You tell yourself you're preventing panic. You tell yourself the people you move like pieces will never know you saved them. The higher you climb, the quieter the facility gets until silence feels like a report you can't stop writing. Silent Retrieval Specialist. The last signature before someone disappears. A plain sedan waits at the far edge of the motor pool, where exhaust hangs low in the winter air. No markings. No chatter on the main net. Your kit is small and deliberate. Flex cuffs, a sealed evidence bag, a Kodak Instamatic, a vial of fluorescent powder, and a folded warrant packet that never mentions where the warrant came from. You drink coffee from a dented thermos because the commissary cups leave fingerprints you don't want. At this level, you collect what the facility can't admit it lost. A compromised engineer, a courier who took a detour, a binder that walked out in a tool bag. You do the practical things: check tire tread for matching gravel, dust a doorknob, verify serial numbers on a badge found in a gutter by the rail spur. You tell yourself you're recovering assets. You tell yourself you're minimizing exposure. You tell yourself the word retrieval is cleaner than what your hands actually do. You don't hunt in the dark because you're brave, you hunt there because the paperwork reads better in daylight. Rank gives you more rooms, more keys, more phrases that soften hard actions into procedures. The fence line never leaves you, though. It just moves inward, thread by thread, until it's wrapped around your own habits. In a place built on containment, you learn the tightest vault is the story you tell yourself, sealed, labeled, and carried.